Okay, this is the first lesson we did in Unit 5, and this discussed the largest side being across from the largest angle. The same thing is true on the flip side of that. If you're looking at the shortest side, it's always across from or opposite from your smallest angle. We did an example in class using that. We said someone was constructing a triangular prop for a stage, and this particular prop was a mountain. And they told me in the problem that the bottom edge of the mountain was 27 feet long. And then they told me that the left slope was 24 feet long. And then they told me that the right slope was 20 feet long. Continue to read. You are told that one of the angles is about 46 degrees and one is about 59 degrees. What is the angle measure of the peak of the mountain? Well, the first thing you've got to do is figure out that third angle. So the first thing I'm going to do here, looking at the problem, to find that third angle, I'm going to do 180 minus 59 minus 46. And if you do that and you punch that in, you're going to get 75 degrees. Looking at your answer choices, that would be choice C. That's the first part. The second part goes back to what's up at the top. I need to place these angles where they need to go. So I've got 46 degrees, 59 degrees, and 75 degrees. And I'm going to use the sides of the triangle to help me do that. Well, the smallest side in this triangle is 20 feet long. So directly opposite from that needs to go the smallest angle, and it is 46 degrees. The largest side is 27 feet long, and directly opposite from that needs to go the largest angle, which is 75 degrees. And then, of course, 59 goes in the remaining degree. Remember also, sometimes in problems, you're going to hear these three main angles in your triangles here are going to be your vertexes, okay? So you got a vertex here, a vertex here, and a vertex here. Remember sometimes in the plural form it's going to be vertices, all right? Next, we looked at a problem that I'm going to skip right now that said list the sides of triangle RST in order from shortest to longest. So again, I'll do this one. Looking at it, I start with the shortest side. I find the smallest angle, 29 degrees. Directly opposite from that is going to be my shortest side, ST. Next, the next largest angle is 30. So directly opposite from that is going to be RS. And then my longest side is going to be directly opposite from 121 degrees, sitting at angle S. And that is going to be side RT. Next thing we looked at. Now, this is when we jumped to our vocab and we looked at triangle inequality theorem. Remember what's important about that, and you can look at the picture we made with your vocab, is that, excuse me, any two sides of a triangle are greater than the third side. And since it has that word any two sides, you have to check all possible cases. So one example of this, the first one. A triangle has one side length of 12 and another of 8. What are the possible lengths of the third side? So in other words, we've got some triangle here. One side of the triangle is 8, another's 12, and this one we don't know. Well, again, remember, triangle inequality will get you close to an answer, but it won't actually give you an actual answer. So three ways this could hash out here. The first way, I could take 8 plus the side we don't know and say that has to be greater than 12. The next way, I could take 8 plus 12 has to be greater than the side we don't know. And lastly, I could take 12 plus the side I don't know has to be greater than x. Remember when we did this, I had to check them, and you'll always get one answer that's kind of crazy. So looking at the first one, I'm going to subtract 8 from both sides. Doing that, I know that x has to be greater than 4. I don't think that's the crazy answer. Let's keep going. Right here, I add 8 plus 12. That gives me 20 greater than x. So I know, looking at this one, okay, that it's looking like x is going to be between 4 and 20. Let's check out the last one. Subtract 12 from both sides. You wind up with x being greater than negative 4. Well, I certainly hope so. Remember, I can't have a length on a side of a triangle that is a negative. Okay, so this last one is our crazy answer. And sometimes you want to write up the final answer where x is between two numbers. So I've got x is greater than 4, but less than 20. All right, the other example is just a repeat of this. We did it in class together. Remember, sometime on your IXLs, they would give you stuff like this also. They would go ahead and give you all three sides of a possible triangle, and it was up to you to determine could you actually have one. So let's say, for instance, you got one that was 6, 5, and 11. And they asked, can you have a triangle? Same situation, guys. You've got to set up three separate inequalities and see if they're true. So I could add 6 plus 5, two sides of a triangle, has to be greater than that side. Another way it could happen, I could do 5 plus 11 has to be greater than the third side. And lastly, I could do 6 plus 11 has to be greater than 5. And you just look at it. If you've got 6 plus 5, that's going to be 11 greater than 11, which isn't true. 11 is equal to 11. So for this kind of case, you would put no. Again, we did this one right here in class, and I'm not going to do it on this video.